Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review and an overview of House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 1, A Son for a Son. Oh, wow. What an episode. Like, what a way to kick things off. The episode ran about an hour, and then there's still a little bit of this season on, House of the Dragon. Then we got the inside the episode. Very, very good stuff all throughout. Like, I was on the edge of my seat for most of the episode. We're gonna get into spoilers, so if you haven't seen the episode, make sure to go check it out. I'm gonna talk about the cast and all the characters that are returning, and then we'll get into it. So of course we have Emma Darcy as Queen Rhaenyra, Matt Smith as Prince Daemon, Olivia Cook as Queen Alicent, Tom Glenn Carney as King Aegon II, Ewan Michael as Prince Aemon, Steve Toussaint as Lord Corlys the Sea Snake, Eve Best as Prince Rhaenys Targaryen, Harry Collett as Prince Jace Valerian, Graham McTavish, Sir Harold Wrestling, Rhys Ifans as Sir Odo Hightower, Freddie Fox as Sir Gawain Hightower, and Fabian Frankel as Sir Crystal Cole. Boy, what a fantastic episode. So just quick recap that you get at the beginning of the episode too. After Aegon takes the throne from Rhaenyra, uh, sides are starting to split up, and Aemon and his dragon Vagar kill Prince Luke. Obviously, at the end of last season, we were on the verge, on the brink of war, just going all out. So one of the first things, as soon as that HBO thing hits, and then we get the intro with the game with theme for Game of Thrones. Oh my goodness, I was back in it. Just fantastic stuff. I love it. Like, it just, that feeling of, I watched Game of Thrones for 8 years, or over the course of 8 seasons, which I guess was longer than 8 years. And just I just miss that appointment television. I don't have anything that I just kind of wait for every Sunday night to watch. So I love getting that back. That's really, really fun. Like, a good way to kind of finish out the week, get ready for the next. Of course, now I'm working on the video. So we check in with, first of all, we go to the north and we see that the tradition that Thoric Stark had initiated, of like how to maintain people going into the wall in the Night's Watch, where 1 out of every 10 men, of all men, no matter who it was, they would go serve at the wall. So we see that Jace was there. He was sent over last season, and he's talking to Kragan Stark about sending people and helping out with Rhaenyra's cause, right? So that's really interesting. It's really kind of cool to go back and start there, because we hadn't really gone to the north. There was no reason for us to go to the north in season 1. So really fun to kind of check in on House Stark and the Wall and all these familiar places, right? Especially if you've seen Game of Thrones. So we also go in. Rhaenys and Daemon continue to argue, or they argue about the queen's absence. So the queen is out looking for the body of her son, or any kind of proof that he's dead. We also check in with the Sea Serpent, Lord Corlys, in his blockade. He also talks to the guy who saved them last season. His name is Alan. I think he's going to come back into the fold. Everything that is set up, like everything, you really have to kind of keep track of all the things that are set up, because there is not a minute wasted on this show, right? Everything that comes up, like the next thing I'm going to talk about, we see Aegon looking for his son, because he wants to bring him into the small council. Of course, he had his son with his sister, and uh, she's always been kind of like, I don't know if she was had visions, or like she just, whatever she says is always in a riddle kind of way that it's gonna pay off later. In this case, she mentions that they have to beware of the rats. Obviously, everyone around takes this literally. We even see a rat catcher walking around the castle later on. But in this case, we also see Sir Cole and the Queen Alicent being super friendly right before the small council meeting, which is really interesting because both of them were really hurt by Rhaenyra, right? They were very close, and I think they kind of have found some kind of comfort in each other. But obviously, this cannot be public, or it would be a shame, right? That the commander of the guard and the queen regent are in a relationship. So also, I don't think Aegon would take this very well. Um, we also catch up with our friend Lightfoot, who clean house with a lot of people. Now, I was thinking, I even made a note, like, are those the rats that we were referring to earlier? But actually, that's not what that it was talking about. We'll definitely get back to that in a second. Uh, during the during the council meeting, we see that because Aegon brought his kid, geez, Syria? No, I'm really bad with some of the names. I don't write down. Um, Jaharian, I think. Either way, his kid's teasing one of the Lannister, the Master Coin that's there. Really funny. Like Aegon is just. I really like the actor who plays him because he's just kind of like an ass, like to anybody. Obviously, he's the king, and everybody's just kind of like aware of that. But it's really funny to see that happen. So like on the in the council meeting, he almost makes him give his son a pony ride during the small council meeting, but he stopped by he stopped by his mom. So um, we then finally see the scene where Rhaenyra finds proof of her son's death. We see that she finds I think it's Arix the dragon, the wing. They somebody found it. Funny enough, I didn't notice that Rhaenyra had only but one line of dialogue. We'll get to that in a second. They brought that up during the inside the episode, which is why I like to watch those before making these videos, because you really do get a lot of insight for what you're about to talk about, especially when I'm making a video telling you guys a little bit about the episode. So um, we also check in with Alicent, who has a chat with her father, or Otto Hightower. I really like Ray Simpkins. Like he's just a fantastic art actor, and his portrayal here. Um, it's interesting because obviously they have a father-daughter relationship, but they also have a queen and hand of the king relationship, which makes things very complicated. They're both playing at this game. So we also have a scene that I think was. I like that they inject a little bit of humor because things are about to get real grim. Aegon is taking requests from the small folk, as he calls them, and it's hilarious because he can't really acquiesce any request. But then, like Otto has to kind of keep reminding him, like we can't really do that because we need, the sheep that they take from somebody, they need that to feed the dragons. The coin that they promised to the smiths, they can't really pay that because they need that money for war, but they also need the weapons from the smiths. So, yeah, I don't know. It's really hilarious because like I don't like the hand of the king has to almost like pick his battles as to which of the requests he really has to turn down. So uh, we also see Missaria from last season. She's kind of the person that's really connected, like all throughout the town, but she doesn't hold any loyalty to anyone. She did have some sort of relationship with Amon, but with Damon. Sorry, all of his names are pretty very similar. So yeah, she's found in a ship. She's brought to Damon. Damon then puts her in jail for now until he can find a use for her. As Rhaenyra finally returns, she asks for she asks in the council for Aemon, like she wants his life, a son for a son. That's where the name of the episode comes from. Of course, Damon takes this to task. We do have a really powerful scene, I think, between Jace when he finally returns. Right, he at the beginning of the episode, news of Luke's death had not reached the wall. They like we see the moment where they both find out, both Kragon and Jace, when they find out about Luke's death. So Jace hadn't even had time to like process this and grieve. He shows up and obviously he's reporting to his mom, who's the queen, and they're both kind of like holding back until they can't any longer, and they finally break down and they both kind of grieve. Luke's death. We see we see the funeral scene that's kind of juxtaposed with Queen Alicent doing prayers, which she includes Luke on the prayers. So like she still cares for Rhaenyra and the kids. I think that's kind of what that shows me. So it's very convoluted. Very interesting. So Damon finally puts a plan into place. Matt Smith is so good in this role. Like I was never. I think I talked about this during season one stuff, but I'm not a big Doctor Who person, so I never watched any of that stuff. But like, he is just so good in at the role of Damon. He goes to the palace. He meets with the rat catcher that we met earlier, who they call Cheese, and he tasks him to kill Amon, along with one of the king's guards that Damon used to command. So, Cheese and Blood, I think, as they're known in the books, and I think that they mention at the end of the episode that that's the only name that they ever get. They infiltrate the castle. I will say, I think Cheese is gonna get it because he kicked the dog, and you just don't do that. And then this is where it gets really, really tough. Like they asked a son for a son. Obviously, the mission was to get Amon, who killed Luke, but instead they go for the boy that we met earlier, who is Aegon's son. Um, wow, it is just really just very messed up. They hold the queen hostage until she tells them because they had twins. They don't know who the boy is, and then they kill the boy. Like there's oh goodness, it's tough to even just listen to because they don't show you anything. I think there's a few lines that Game of Thrones won't cross, and that's one of them. They don't show you anything, but there's still some sound effects you hear in the background. Um, the queen then goes into Allison's room where she's once again being friendly with Sir Cole, and she tells them that what they've done. So that's where we leave off with the episode. Um, it was hard. It was definitely super intense. But yeah, like I said, if you have time, watch those inside the episodes. I think they're very helpful to kind of talk about everything and process everything that we went through. And then in the preview for the season, and the director and the creator of the show talked about this. This incident is what sets off all the awful things that are about to happen in season two. So it's kind of on Damon's fault. Like we even see a little preview of Rhaenyra saying to Damon, like, "You've undermined my claim to the throne by doing what you did." Um, because yeah, it's messed up, right? I think they would have obviously that was Prince Damon. His goal was not to do what they just did. He was going after Aemon. Uh, anyways, before I get more names confused, yeah, it is just great way to kick things off. Super heavy, super harsh, as always, super gnarly. Um, One thing I did notice, I feel like they are having a little bit of issues with rendering the dragons in daylight, which is always kind of a like CGI. It's always kind of an issue, like when you do stuff like that. But it wasn't too distracting. It did. There was only one scene where it kind of really jumped out at me, but I mean, I don't normally pay attention to that. But if I noticed it, I know other people are going to notice it. So I figure I might as well address it at least. So let me know. What did you think of this episode? What did you think of this way to kick off the season? And yeah, let me know in the comments. Did I miss anything? Anything else we should be looking into? Oh, I guess when we heard about Beware of the Rats, that's what I was talking about with the rat catcher coming back. That's the rats that I think she was referring to. So it is crazy stuff. I also thought they had changed Harry Collette as the actor who plays Jace, but I think he just grew up. So that was interesting. So okay, well, thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.